Hey everyone, welcome to the Elite Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host Sam Popple, along with my co-host William McClellan. How you doing today, Will?
All's good. Exciting guests. I love it. Love it. Super stoked.
Yeah, man, we have a great guest today. Today's guest is Justin Pickering, a retired U.S. Army Special Forces Sergeant Major who has made a powerful leap from military leadership to real estate entrepreneurship. After 20 years of service and 6 combat deployments, Justin transitioned into the business world where he discovered that mindset, systems, and discipline are as critical as they are on the battlefield. He and his wife, Amber, now lead multiple real estate brands focused on revitalizing communities, creating affordable housing, and building long-term wealth. Together, they flipped and renovated dozens of homes across multiple markets, often working hand in hand with local trades to bring neighborhoods back to life. Justin is also the founder of The Deliberate Blueprint, a leadership and mindset coaching platform for entrepreneurs and real estate investors. He is currently writing a book called Deliberate Mindset, blending hard-won lessons from special forces with practical tools in life and business success. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Justin.
And thanks for having me. Super excited to talk about my journey. And yeah, man, let's get started. Let's do it.
Dude, sweet. Well, first off, man, thank you for your service. Obviously, awesome background and just crazy, amazing introduction there. And that's probably just the tip of the iceberg. So thank you so much for the time. Thank you for your service. Thanks for being on, man. So you served as a sergeant major in special forces with 6 combat deployments. Let's kind of start there about the Army, entrepreneurship, and leadership. Like how do they all mesh together? Obviously, you're writing a book on it. So give us the keynotes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to start out by talking about how I got to entrepreneurship and why we chose real estate.
Yeah,
and so you talk about the 6 combat deployments. I did 10 deployments overall. I added it up before I got out, and I was away from home 6.5 years out of the 20 years I was in the military. So a lot of time away from my family. My family went through a lot. So let's fast forward to year 19. I'm planning to retire at 20. And this is something that it's hard to explain to people. But even when you plan to retire, it is hard. Like mentally, I knew I wanted to retire. I submitted my retirement, but man, you're questioning everything, right? You've dedicated your life to service, and all of a sudden, it's gone. It's so hard. I wish I could explain it because people will say, "Well, didn't you elect to retire?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, but it still wasn't easy." So we're a year out from retirement, and me and my wife sit down, and we're trying to decide what we're going to do next. And for me, it was okay. I got to balance family time. I can't just go into another job where I'm gone all the time, right? So that was probably my number one priority. But then my second priority was going to be I need a mission and purpose again. When you spend your whole life with a mission and purpose, and then all of a sudden it's gone. I mean, it's heartbreaking. So, we needed a couple of those two things. We were at a event called Flip Hacking Live. It's ran by Bill Allen and the 7-figure flipping community. That's the hat I got on.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they had an opportunity to join this investors group called 7-figure flipping, and it was a pretty big financial commitment, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. So I sat down with my family, and we discussed it as a family. And one of the key things was, will y'all do this with me? Right? I cannot run this business by myself. If you could see how I'm dressed, I don't match with them. I shouldn't be designing houses. So I knew I needed a partner. I needed my wife to help me with the design plans. And my 13-year-old son, he uploads all my receipts into QuickBooks, right? So he kind of does some of the admin tasks for me. So as we talked, we realized that we had a path where I can include my family, still have autonomy, while also continue to serve my community with mission and purpose. So if you ask why I got into real estate, what pointed me there, it provides all those things for me as I was getting out of the military.
Dude, that's awesome. So what was the biggest challenge during your transition from military life to civilian life, and business ownership?
I think I already kind of covered it, but I'll dive a little deeper. It was I felt like I was losing my identity.
Right.
y- this is hard to explain. I'm a Green Beret and I'm a sergeant major, uh, and in the military that means something.
Mm-hmm.
It means a whole lot. Uh, I walk around with instant respect, and then all of a sudden that's all gone, and I'm just a regular person in the regular world, and nobody cares. Um, in general, I'm telling you, nobody cares. Nobody knows what Green Beret and Sergeant Major mean. They don't know what that. Um, I had somebody say, "You're teaching leadership classes," because they don't know me from the military. I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh, what are your qualifications?" I'm like, "Well, I kind of did this thing where I led 150 troops in 3 different countries. I mean, I know a lot about leadership, right?" So, but to a regular person, they wouldn't. And I say regular person, I don't mean that demeaning in any way, but uh, yeah, to lose that identity, that was tough. And then this one's going to sound crazy to people too, because as much as people in the military, while they're in it, say they want autonomy, and when you lose it, when you lose that structure, man, it's tough. I'm still dealing with this. 2 weeks ago, I started a new schedule, and I've been keeping up with it really well. But I went ahead and wrote out like an hour by hour schedule for my days because I was struggling with. I was doing a lot in a day, but it was so random. It was just like putting out fires, putting out fires. I think a good example of that fits this podcast of real estate is underwriting deals. As deals come in, I would underwrite them. We could be in the middle of a movie, and I'll hit pause. Oh, Amber, I got a deal. Let me underwrite this real quick. I stopped doing that 2 weeks ago, and I like my new format. From 4 p.m. to 5 p.m., I'm underwriting deals and sending offers just that 1 hour day. So if there's 12 in my box at 4 p.m., then I'm going to go through and I'm going to knock them out and send offers. So little things like that, structure in my days, have been instrumental in kind of bringing that structure back to my life.
Yeah. Was there a
And
specific moment when when that made you realize that you were going to make, real estate your next mission?
yeah, I think it goes back to that story of we were at Flip Hacking Live, and
Mhm.
me, my wife, and I only have 2 sons left in the house. My oldest is in college, so my 2 sons are in the house. We sit down, and I told him, hey, I can go get a regular job, and work for somebody, and they'll control my hours, or I can do this. But if I do this, I want to do it as a family, and I made sure that they were all in, and I got a good family, man. They were all in. They supported this. They helped
I was about
me.
to say, how'd the conversation go?
Everybody was real supportive.
That's awesome.
I mean, you just heard I was away from home for 6.5 years, and my wife didn't leave me. So I got a pretty cool family. I have a good relationship with my kids. I'm beyond fortunate.
No, that's awesome. So going back to family, Amber, your wife, you guys started flipping homes, and then your son, remind me of his name, who does everything into QuickBooks. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. He doesn't do everything. I don't want my investors to freak out.
No. Admin tasks. Sorry, admin
He
tasks.
only he uploads receipts.
Yeah, that's
He
Receipt
manages.
input. Yeah.
No, it's
Receipt
cool.
input.
It's cool.
Uh,
Receive input. Yeah, but getting everyone involved in the family, I think is really neat.
Yeah.
So
It's yeah.
you mentioned, I wrote it down here, like you don't really match your clothes, so you're not going to match these houses. And so you got your wife Amber involved. You guys started revitalizing neighborhoods. You want to take us through maybe that transition of these first couple deals and kind of what that looked like as a unit, a family unit, working together, building a business, and what that meant to you?
Yeah, I
Trying to
think
build out this new identity, right?
yeah, but I think it's important that we go back to the first one, because the first one happened before we did this as a business, right? We were doing this as a hobby for, I started in 2019.
Okay, no, that's important. That's important. I think
It is
everyone
important,
needs to understand that it wasn't like,
100%. It
yeah,
wasn't easy, and it didn't just, yeah, everybody likes to tell the story about the year they skyrocketed, but not the 6 years of work they put in before that skyrocket happened, right?
that's what we
Uh,
really like is honesty on this podcast, which I think has just been super. People
well,
being open has been like the best part of my week. Like this, I'm not trying to take anything away because I'm just super excited because I love when people are like, let me back it up. Because it's
Well,
pretty
the
awesome.
deal went really well, but I want to explain like where I was in life. I didn't have a traditional childhood where, um, I had several men come in and out of my life, but none of them really ever taught me man task. I mean, this is going to sound crazy. The first time I shot a gun was in basic training. Um, I didn't know how, I didn't learn any handyman task. I didn't learn anything. I was raised by a woman, kind of. She had two jobs. So really, my oldest brother was maybe the parent of the house. And I'm not complaining. I'm telling you that to give you this background that when my wife in 2019 says, "Hey, can we buy a house and renovate it?" Uh, I looked at her like, do you know who you married? Like, no. I own and this is a true story. I owned an 8-ounce hammer, which is like the smallest hammer you can buy. I think they're even pink. Mine was not pink, but in general, I owned an 8-ounce hammer, and I owned a Black and Decker drill, which was on sale on Black Friday at Walmart for $30, and that was my tools. And I'm like, Amber, how are we going to renovate a house, right? I was listening to Bigger Pockets podcast at the time. I enjoyed listening to those, and I'll tell you, I'm a numbers guy and I'm a planner. So Burr just made sense to me. It really, really did. But what didn't make sense to me was my wife telling me we were going to do the work. Uh, but if you know me, I don't really tell her no often. So I said, sure. And we did it. And we did everything wrong. It took us 9 months. We did most of the work ourselves. And when I say we did the work, remember I had three kids. I was in the military. I was coaching. I was getting my degree. Um, so we were working like 2 hours a night from 10 p.m. till midnight, right? And like it was terrible. There's this meme going around. It just made me think about it. And it's like a picture of Donald Trump holding a receipt from Home Depot, talking about his 36th trip to Home Depot today, working on the East Wing. Anyway, I don't know, that flashed in my head, but that was true. Like the amount of times we had to stop to run back to the hardware store, it's laughable. Um, and I wish, maybe afterwards I can send you some pictures of this house of what we did. We didn't just do a light renovation. We gutted this thing. And if you've ever gutted a 1948 house, you'll find out that nothing is square. So I mean, yeah, I mean, simple stuff was not simple, or what should have been simple stuff was not simple. It was an experience. However, even with us being completely lost, we made 30,000 off of that. So we got our initial investment back plus 30,000, and then I net $1,000 a month off that deal. It's still to this day my best real estate deal.
That's awesome.
It's funny,
That's
and
awesome.
I teach this in my leadership classes. I'm really focused on processes, not outcomes. And in 2019-20, I didn't have a process, but I had a good outcome. So the point of what I teach is you can't really control outcomes. You can only control processes. So what I would tell you though is in 2025, my processes are better than ever, but I've had my worst year in real estate. And I'm not ashamed of that because I know I've built a foundation that's going to last, where getting lucky in 2020 wouldn't last in 2025.
Sure.
So tell us about Deliberate Blueprint. What is it? What inspired you to start coaching other entrepreneurs and investors?
So there's a program called the Honor Foundation. It's offered up to special operations guys as we're getting out. And it's like an 8 to 12, maybe it's a 12-week program. I don't remember off the top of my head. But the point is the first 4 weeks, you actually follow Simon Sinek's, find your why, right? So you spend 4 weeks like really just self-reflecting on what your why is. And at the end of that exercise, my why was I achieve success through giving so I can elevate others along the way. So I achieve success through giving so I can elevate others along the way. And then I'm going to tell you a quick story about the military. I've accomplished a lot in the military, I really have. But the accomplishment I talk about most is when I was a team sergeant, I had 10 guys under me. All 10 of my guys moved on to be leaders in the military, which is unheard of. And I'm not talking about one rank above. They're all first sergeants, sergeant majors, commanders. They all moved up. That's my greatest accomplishment. I love seeing people succeed through my guidance, right? So
That's
I have a
awesome.
passion to coach, man. And so
Yeah,
that's
actually, I feel the need just to go ahead and thank you for your service a second time, because I mean, you obviously were great at your job, and you did something that had a lasting impact in the services after you left. I mean, with those 10 other leaders. So yeah, man, I really am grateful for your impact, and everything you've done for our country.
Well, I'll tell you, it's my joy. It's my payment. I actually posted this today, like seeing somebody succeed off of my guidance is better than any paycheck I've ever gotten. And I truly, truly do mean that. I know that might sound, fake to some people, but that's where I'm at. I would rather have $100,000 and taking care of people than $1,000,000 and not taking care of people. That's just the way I am. So that's what the Deliberate Blueprint is, man. It's a coaching service, and I'm also writing my book under that LLC, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. But overall, it's about systems, mindset, and consistency. That's what I'm teaching under Deliberate Blueprint. Systems and processes, right? That's what we focus on. We don't focus on outcomes. We focus on systems and processes.
Yeah, I love that mentality, because as a business owner, who has multiple restaurant locations and been in real estate a while, you definitely get caught up in the outcomes and wanting certain outcomes. But as you said, I mean, you really don't have any kind of control on what that is. All you really can control is your inputs, and I think that's just such tremendous value. As far as advice to give somebody is like, because it really is what you do every day that will, help increase your chance of having a favorable outcome. In your experience, what separates a good leader from a great one in real estate or business in general?
We're going to start this one out by talking about just some leadership lessons I learned in Special Forces as I was moving up. So and this is something I teach when I go to different businesses teaching leadership, but communication is the cause or resolution of all conflict or achievement. And I have this written down here for this. Communication is the cause or resolution of all conflict or achievement. It's a crazy stat, but 80 to 90% of all workplace problems come from a communication issue, right? So, so number one is communication. That's something I got better at towards the end of my career. I was really bad at in the beginning of my leadership career. And then I think the last thing I took away from the military was slow down. And we say this all the time. You're not getting shot at. Calm down. You're not getting shot at. And in the civilian world, it's even easier to say that, right? Because like really the problems I face in real estate are like, I'm sorry, but they're very minor compared to, some of the issues we faced.
Not
But
getting shot.
then, yeah, not getting shot at, right? So slow down, you're not getting shot at.
Yeah.
And then to answer your specific question, though, I think good leaders manage, and I think great leaders develop, right? So great leaders develop people, good leaders manage people. And then, in the course we teach, we say all leaders have to provide four things. That's the why, the what, the how, and the resources.
Man, I think I need to join your course.
I 1099 for a company called LDR Leadership, where I teach leadership and under my Deliberate Blueprint LLC. I'm a 1099 employee to them, but I also teach, on the side, and you'd be surprised. A lot of the material from leadership and what I teach in real estate really start to overlap.
Yeah, I'm pretty interested on that. Like, tell us a little bit about how they're correlated, because I think that's one of our questions we were going to go over, so we can kind of jump right into it. In that correlation, are you getting, when you're teaching leadership courses, people opening up their own business in real estate and kind of just like opening conversations or telling people what you do outside of that?
Uh, if I think I understand your question, and I'm just going to focus on the correlation between the two is this is a big business. Like flipping homes is a big business. There's a lot that goes into it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry to do this to you, but I'm going to break it down into the five pillars of flipping, right? So and this is how I teach it to everybody, and they have to hear this so they can understand the
No,
blueprint,
don't
right?
apologize. That's what this is
So
for, man.
we
Everybody, get your pens out right now.
we have an operations branch, right? And in that operations branch, um, or cell, if you will, it's above the branches. You have your chief of operations. You're going to have your admin assistant, your CPA, your bookkeeper, your attorney. So all the people who generally are like in your operational part of your business. But then we go into the five pillars, right? And the first one is capital raising. The second one is marketing. Third is acquisitions. Fourth is renovations, and fifth is dispositions. And although some of those may overlap during the process of the flip, they are completely separate. And when you write it out like this and you write out all the things that have to happen under each one of those branches, you're going to feel overwhelmed. And a cool little exercise that I started with people and I started with myself, I actually did this with our businesses. I wrote this out. I drew out this big tree of this is what our business is going to look like. And then I put a name next to somebody, a name next to every position of who's in charge of what. Well, when you start, your name is next to everything.
Right.
So where they start to overlap, right, is you have to learn how to hire people, and then give them that why, what, how, and resources to execute that branch, right? Because you cannot do it all. You just can't. It's impossible to run all five of these branches. I know very few, if any, I'm trying to think of it on the top of my head, successful people who did it by themselves. There's always some kind of collaboration and partnership or some kind of leadership that built the company. So if I'm not talking about 50-50 JV, I'm talking about collaboration where I'm a leader. I bring people on and I teach them how to do these five pillars because I can't do all five pillars, but I can hire five people and teach five people how to do each pillar. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. Can you run back those five again? Capital raising, marketing.
Acquisitions,
Yeah.
renovations, and then
Mm-hmm.
dispositions. And
Yeah.
yes, marketing and acquisitions go hand in hand, but they are completely separate. And there's a whole lot of tasks under um, each one that it requires different skill sets.
So then, how are you acquiring these skill sets? I mean, it seems like you're natural, or obviously you're a natural born leader, and you're utilizing those skills to build out your business. But I keep kind of getting these little golden nuggets of, okay, 2 weeks ago, I actually restructured my whole day, and I'm doing this.
Yeah.
4 to 5, I'm writing offers. Now I'm seeing, okay, when I started my business, I created this tree of everything I needed, and next thing I knew, I was right near
Yeah.
everything. Something
No,
I
no,
just highlighted here is you had to learn how to hire people. I think that's huge because I feel a lot of weight in that, and Sam can probably attest to it. It's like we've been able to get our teams this year, but there's still a lot that we're holding on our plates. And as much as we were willing to outsource and pay for, let's just say, attorney fees and some other things that we needed that we're not qualified for, but we were trying to figure things out. It's like it's hard to learn how to hire people. That's a tough
yeah.
one, and
So,
you have to
so
have that number four is not the why, what, how, but also the resources. You have to have enough resources in how the business is operating to then translate that information to whoever you're trying to hire, which is just like a lot of things compounding.
got you. So stay with me here. Here's how I did it. So
I love it.
obviously, I'm doing all these tasks in the beginning.
Right.
And you can't hand them off too fast. And you can't hand off everything at once. So there's a couple
Yeah.
things I teach. I teach 90-day handoffs.
Okay.
But before that, everything I do, I use Loom to record myself doing it. I'm doing it anyway. And the simple example I always give everybody is like turning on the electric. It's a simple task that a CEO should not be doing. I think we all can agree with that. However, in the beginning,
we'll start delegating it to me. So.
Yeah. Hey. But in the beginning, the CEO is doing all the tasks, right? When you're an entrepreneur and start the business, but you want to start handing the stuff off. So you're doing the task anyway. So I'm going to Northwest, FPL Northwest, and I'm starting the electric. What I do is I do a Loom video of me doing it, and I turn on ChatGPT, the speaker function, and I just talk it out. So I'm on Loom video, and I'm saying everything I'm doing while doing it and recording it. When I'm done, ChatGPT builds me an SOP, and I have a Loom video because people learn in two different ways. Some like to read and some like to watch, right? Well, I'm going to have both. I don't know when I'm going to hand that off when you start the business, but someday I'm going to. And you don't want to start building your SOPs when you're trying to hand something off, because it's remember, you owe your employee the resources. If you hire them and then say, figure it out, they're probably going to fail. That's just not as a leader, we have to provide the why, what, how, and resources, right? So, all right. So what I actually teach is 90-day handoffs, because I don't believe you can hand off everything at once. So picture my big chart again of my business. I circled everything that's a pain point. I don't have a strong skill set in, or I just don't like to do. And then I started handing those things off 90 days at a time.
Quick side note: what's your least favorite thing? What's the thing you handed off first that you wanted to get rid of the most? That you just hated doing?
We handed off renovations first, and it wasn't because I hated it the most.
It was because you only had that 8-ounce hammer.
It's because I was very average, but it's hard to do 3 projects at once with just you and your wife.
100%. Right.
You can't scale when you're doing the renovations.
There's no scaling if you're doing the renos yourself.
So I handed off renovations first, and then second was bookkeeping, and that was more for, as we started bringing in private investors in, I wanted to give them the confidence that it's not just me doing my books, right? I have a professional doing it with me. I want to be a good steward of private lenders. That's a huge deal to me, right? So I actually don't mind bookkeeping, but I thought it was the right thing to do to protect my private investors. The thing I'm handing off now, 2 weeks ago, is actually what I hate the most, and it's marketing. And I hired a marketer. We can talk about that in a minute, but real quick, I do want to go over this 90-day process of so now you've circled everything, you've identified your pain points, choke points, what you hate, or what you're not good at, right? You're circling all those things. What you hand off first is whatever is causing the most issues in your business, or whatever is hitting your revenue stream the most, right? That's what you want to hand off first. So I don't know what that is for you. That would be up to you to decide. But I knew I couldn't grow without handing off renovations. So that was number one for me. So don't get wrapped around numbers. This is the way my mind works. I broke it down into 30, 30, 30. That's my 90 days. The first 30 days is focused on hiring and making sure your SOPs are written and ready to go. So you have 30 days to hire, interview, and make sure your SOP is, if you haven't been doing the right thing and doing it while you were already doing the task, you can build it now. Day 30 through 60, in the military, we would call this left seat, right seat. So think I'm driving while they're in the passenger seat. So we are very hands-on in this 30 days. I'm showing you how to do this. I don't want to say micromanaging, but I am definitely holding your hand, let's say, during this phase. And then day 60 through 90, we switch seats. They're driving and I'm in the passenger seat. And you want to end this 90-day cycle with whatever your SOP is going forward. So like for me, my marketer, we used to meet every day, but now we're going to meet just Mondays and Thursdays, right? We're going to meet 2 times a week. So the SOP or the phase ends when you've gone to your battle rhythm of whatever your meeting is going to be with that employee. Now, don't get wrapped around the days. If it takes 20 days to do phase 1, that doesn't mean you have to stare at the calendar for 10 more days. Like, don't be silly about it. And if you do it in 70 days, great. What I want to caution people is handing everything off too because when there's fires, think this just popped in my head. Think about the California fires that happened this year, and there was like 3 major fires in 3 different areas. We only have the resources to really focus on one at a time. That same thing's going to happen in your business. So don't try to hand it off too quickly, because there's going to be some issues. You're testing your SOPs out for the first time. Like, there's going to be some refinement that happens. If you hand off 6 different things, it's just going to be a mess. You're not, yeah, it's just going to be a mess. I'm telling you, because I've coached a lot of people, and I see it all the time.
So
I agree.
go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, no. I would just say, yeah, I definitely agree that you can't hand off too much, all at once, because you got to. I've seen it training people at the restaurants. Train one job a day.
Have a system and process.
Mhm.
Mine is a 90-day handoff. I'm not saying it's the right one. I'm saying it's a process, and you should stick to processes because they work.
Definitely.
What do you think that some for your upcoming book, The Deliberate Mindset, the core principles behind the title and how they're applying to you, civilian, your business, your leadership courses? Just kind of give us a rundown.
Well, I may not answer the question the way you want me to, but I
That's
think it's
fine. However you want
important.
to answer it, man.
I think it's important you understand why I'm writing the book.
Yeah.
I think Green Berets are some of the most capable humans to ever walk Earth.
Mhm.
I've been around giants, man. I've been around people that they would literally blow your mind, the things that I've seen these guys do. And I'll try not to get emotional here, but I've lost more people to suicide than I did in combat, right? So I want you to think these people with a Green Beret's mind, they're so powerful. The mind is so powerful, though, that it convinced a Green Beret to take his own life. So the point I'm trying to make in this book, if the brain is so powerful that it can make a Green Beret do something as crazy as take his own life, then the opposite must be true. The opposite is true. The mind is powerful, and it can pull you out of the depression. It can take you to new heights. It is 100% fact. And there's all kinds of studies that prove this. But for core principles, it all started with the Tony Robbins quote, for me, and it's probably my favorite quote. And he says, "We don't experience life; we experience the life we focus on." And man, that couldn't be more true. Earlier I was talking about my childhood, and I know this is probably a silly example, but I had 5 different fathers come into my life, and there was a time I had a chip on my shoulder about it, like, poor me. I had to go through all this, but my new mindset is, man, I got 5 different perspectives from 5 different men who taught me 5 different things. That's
Mhm.
really cool, right? So just that same situation from a different lens, it totally changes your perspective, which fits into his quote. We don't experience life; we experience the life we focus on. I think that's super powerful. Language creates reality. I don't think we understand the power of words. It totally frames your mindset, even your thoughts. So when I say language, I mean the language that you're using in your own brain. The power of gratitude, man. I start out each morning listing 3 things I'm thankful for now. It's life changing, and it's so simple. But I'm telling you, it, I don't know if y'all have ever seen somebody did this on TV about 6 months ago, and it really stood with me. But he basically held up a paper and he said, "What do you see here? Y'all see that?"
Yeah, the dot.
Yeah, you
Circle.
see it. You see a dot. What that dot represents is our problems. Our brain is naturally, like, we're wired to seek for survival, right? So we see the problem, we see the dot. But what if I were to tell you everything in white is all the good things that are going on? But our brains aren't trained to see that. We have to deliberately train our brains to see all the good that's around. And I get it, man. In reality, there's probably 10 dots on that page, but also there's still more white than there are dots, right?
Right.
So the point remains that you have to train your brain to see the white, because your brain is naturally wired like a caveman to see the danger. And again, this is all backed by psychological studies and people studying the mind. This has been written about. I am not introducing anything new. It's all been said. I'm just giving it from a perspective of a Green Beret who went through some depression and some down points in my life and how I recovered.
That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. I can't wait to get a copy, man, and read it.
Yeah. Do you have an estimate of when you think it'll be coming out?
Yeah, we're shooting for April.
Okay.
Awesome. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Definitely shoot us a text, man. We'll share it. You know, we share it for you on all our pages and mention it. It's like, yeah, I definitely would like to read a copy of the book.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, we'll have to have you back before it goes live, you know, or once it's live, and then we can share and then you can talk a little bit about it. That'd be awesome.
I think if I can help one person, I know this sounds stupid, but if I can help one person, it's worth it to me.
Oh yeah.
And I'm confident that this book's going to help at least one person.
Yeah. Well, I want to help a few more people in one way. But before we close out this to our lightning round, I wanted to ask you to share basically one of your worst flip stories and how you overcame it.
Worst flip stories.
Yeah, maybe one that was a dud, a nightmare, just something that it didn't. You thought it was going to work one way and it went south.
I don't want to go too deep into it because they may be listening, but the contractor friend who, in my opinion, was not treating me fairly with pricing and was kind of funneling money. I was paying way too much for the services I was getting, and having to again go from hobby to business. I had to remember that these aren't my friends. These are my employees. And that's an important distinction in business and in leadership is, you're not there to be their friends. You're there to lead them. And I wasn't doing that. I was being a friend and I probably got taken advantage of. It's actually my only loss in real estate. I've been pretty fortunate. I lost $12,000 on that deal, which is funny for me. I was like stabbing me in the heart. But as I'm in the 7-figure flipping so I'm around a lot of investors and they all laugh when I tell the story because they're like, "Oh, dude, I lost 200,000. I lost, so my story's pretty minimal for a loss. We've been pretty fortunate. How did we get through it? Well, I truly believe, back to deliberate mindset, that everything happens for a reason. That bad experience led me to build my own crew. So I partnered with another friend of mine who, we hired 6 people to work under him. He's the foreman, and I think we got a good thing going now. So, like all perceived bad, good came out of it, man. I have an awesome crew now, and each project we get better. We're not perfect. We our SOP gets refined every single project, and I think that's important for people to understand is you don't need the perfect SOP. You need to have a SOP, get started, and refine it as you go.
Yeah,
I love it.
That's
awesome. All right, man. Well, let's ask some lightning round.
Okay.
You've already dropped some really good. You dropped some very good quotes, and I love the visual with the dot. But what's your favorite leadership quote or principle? And you might have already given it to us because you already dropped some good ones. But if you got another one, and you got an exact quote, the principle's fine.
No. Just give me a second. So let's go back to the importance of communication as a leader and how 80 to 90% of problems in a workplace stem from poor communication. Clarity isn't a luxury in leadership. It's a responsibility.
I like it.
Yeah, love that one.
So clarity isn't a luxury in leadership. It's a responsibility.
That's awesome, man. I'm writing that down right now. That's good.
All right. What's one daily habit that keeps you sharp?
It's kind of a combination. Sorry, I hate not answering the questions the way you want them, but
no. I want you to. How you feel.
All right. I wake up and I read the Bible, and I started that about 360 days ago, and I'm so close. By the end of the month, I'm going to finish the Bible from start to finish for the first time in my life. Super proud of myself.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah. So
That's such an accomplishment. I have a 1-year Bible myself that's broken up to 365, and I'm currently on phase 3 reading it daily as one of my 3 tasks. Yeah, I've read it all the way through like that too, and yeah, it's one of the best things you can do.
so Bible reading, followed by my listing 3 things I'm thankful for every morning. You know, small, like celebrating small wins, like things, just tying it back to SF. We do so many things sometimes that we don't celebrate our wins ever. It's always what's next. So for 20 years in special forces, it was always what's next, and that was my mindset. And it's good in the special forces world, but it's bad in the real world because you're never satisfied. It's always what's next. So taking the time taking the time to be thankful for what I've already accomplished. And then the third thing, and this is all kind of a combination. I mean, this all goes hand in hand. I do a 30-minute clarity walk. I really enjoy walking. It's going to sound really weird, but I wear my headset and I talk to ChatGPT, which I named Juliana, and we have conversations while I walk about what's on my mind. It helps me write my book, right? So I will tell her notes while I'm walking. So when I get back and it's time to write, I use those clarity walks to I just talk randomly, and it'll organize my thoughts and notes to support my writing when I get back. I write every Tuesday for 2 to 3 hours every Tuesday. I'm writing the book. So
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, I love that. All right, and the last one of these was, if you could give just one piece of advice to a first time real estate investor, what would it be?
Oh man, you can't say one piece. No, I'm gonna give you more. All right, so I'm gonna give you. I'll do it. I'll just do 2.
Okay.
Steph Curry is arguably the greatest shooter of all time. Is that true? Can we
I
agree?
agree with that.
All right. So I just went to a Spurs Golden State Warriors game on Friday, and an hour and a half before the game started, Steph Curry was out there with a shooting coach practicing shooting. And what I really want to drive home is, if Steph Curry has a coach and he's already the best ever to do it, shooting, don't you think we all should have a coach?
Mm-hmm.
I think coaching is important. Of all the crap we pay for and subscriptions we pay for, I think coaching is, and this isn't to drive my business, just so y'all know, I truly believe it. I have a real estate coach, and I do real estate, and I coach real estate. Everybody I know that's successful in real estate had a mentor. But you can say that about any profession. Michael Jordan had a coach. And then the second thing I'm going to tell you is, and I like this analogy, is you can't learn to drive in a parked car. So what I see in real estate is people they listen to 300 hours of bigger pockets. They join 8 guru groups, pay all this money for all these classes, and they never actually get started. Yeah, there's a little bit of studying you do before you get behind a wheel and drive. But man, at some point, you got to get in the car and drive, right? So you can't learn to drive a parked car. Take action over perfection. Refine your SOPs as you go, but just start. By the way, there's an SOP out there already built for everything. Take somebody else's, start using it, and then make it your own. Don't try to make it your own before you start. It doesn't make sense. You don't know what road you're going to be on. That's like saying you can't make a left turn from a parked car. Like, what are we talking? You got to drive. Get going. Take action.
Dude, that's awesome. I think I love utilizing someone else's SOPs and not reinventing the wheel. I think that's really important. And then analysis paralysis is like something that you might hear consistently, and it is so true. Man, I can't thank you enough. I cannot wait to check out your book. I think the Deliberate Mindset is going to be something that everyone is going to need to read and put on their bookshelf. So can't wait to have you back on. Thank you so much for your time. Where can people find you, find your leadership courses, find out more about the Deliberate Mindset, and how to get in touch?
So I already told y'all earlier, one of my weaknesses, and something I have circled big on my map is marketing, and it's something I'm trying to get better at. And I actually brought a marketer onto my team last week.
Awesome.
She is going to fix my weakness through my leadership. I'm going to give her, what she needs to be successful. But right now, I just have my Instagram handle, the Deliberate Blueprint for the coaching. And then we have Foundation and Light Home Solutions is what we renovate properties under.
Awesome, man. And then when we hop on and get these awesome guests, we have to give a big shout out to Clean Eats. If you guys are looking for anything to eat, you're in a rush, you need to prep, you're looking to get fit, there's 4 restaurants that you need to go to: Clean Eats Pensacola, Clean Eats Shalimar, Clean Eats Mobile, and Tallahassee. So anywhere across Northwest Florida, definitely stop in cafe or order online for catering or meal prepping services. And if you guys need any materials, if you guys are looking to jump in and do your first flip, or if you're looking to build your first spec, let me know. We will broker out building materials from foundation up to peel and stick, including siding, windows, interior trim, interior doors. Really excited on that opportunity, being able to do that. Also, if you guys are looking to add more people to your team, I know that we talked a lot about finding weaknesses, understanding things, creating charts, understanding pain points. But with that, you have to have the resources when hiring. I love the 90 days. First 30 days, utilize that to hire. We also have a great opportunity to help you start off small with any type of virtual assistance that you guys might need. So outside of that, if you have any land, or actually we're getting into some lighter rehabs, let us know. Follow us on Elite Real Estate Podcast. Check it out on YouTube and eliterealestatepodcast.com. Sam, that was a lot of info. What'd I forget?
I think, yeah, you handled it all. So, yeah, like I said, reiterate, building supplies, shoot us a message. Again, if you want to reach out to Will specifically, you can go to the eliterealestatepodcast.com. Just on that little reach out, shoot us a message thing at the bottom. Just put attention, Will. Hey, I need a quote on my windows or my hardy board or whatever it is that you need. Will is saving me a ton of money on windows and hardy board for my personal home that I'm flipping. And so it's definitely a great thing. As always, you busy professionals shouldn't be cooking for yourselves. Your time is far too valuable. So you should just come and buy food from me for under $8 a meal. You can't cook for yourself that cheap. Again,
deal.
Your
Absolute
time
deal.
is worth way more than $8 a meal. And yeah, I think we're good. Bring us some more land deals. We're running out of lots. We almost built everything we got. We need some more lots. So definitely bring us some more lots if you got some lots in Escambia County. Man, Justin, thank you so much for coming on. I loved everything that you talked to us about. I mean, your visual examples and everything you said about leadership, I thought was spot on. I definitely recommend people checking you out for coaching, and I highly recommend getting the book, The Deliberate Blueprint, on the upcoming book launch. Can't wait to read it myself. Will and I will definitely be buying copies. Hopefully, we'll get them signed by you.
Yeah,
yes,
man.
sir. Yeah, no problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Nah, Justin, thanks for being on, man.
49 minutes flew by with you guys.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
It was easy.
Yeah.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, we appreciate you coming on. Everybody who tuned in to listen, we appreciate you listening to us on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. And stay tuned for next week. We'll have another great guest. So appreciate everyone tuning in.
Thanks.